Dan Quinn was asked about corners traveling. And this is what I thought was interesting, right? Because Trey, you know, sometimes he'll move around, sometimes he doesn't, but he will chase around the best guys on the team. You know what I mean? Not all the time, but he will sometimes, and he'll shut those guys down when he chases those guys down. Now we don't have that pesky cornerback 2 problem, right? So they asked Dan Quinn, do you see any of these guys traveling around a little bit? I thought this was interesting. Dan said this.
Yeah, that's a good question, and sometimes you do on a matchup of the size or that, but it's not something that we've discussed where we're going to match one versus the other, because you're right. As you get into this space, you can really lock in on playing your side, and I've definitely had experience doing that where we didn't match. Certainly during my times in Seattle, we did not, and it was a lot for that reason to say, hey, we had great confidence, trust to how we wanted to go get it on, and so that'll be likely the case here as well.
When you got 2 cornerback 1s, you ain't got to travel, right, Will? Still, when you have a Diggs and you got a Gilmore, you just line up and play however you want to play. There was a part of me that felt like, well, if Justin Jefferson lines up in the slot, because he does that sometimes, Diggs will go over there. And the reason why Diggs can be able to do that, especially in this situation, is because we know that Daron Bland can play outside if he has to. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, the idea of these guys moving around was all good to me. Plus, we get Gilmore covering wide receiver 2s. You can't beat that with a stick. You know what I mean? But what Dan Quinn is saying, in which I'm not opposed to this neither, hey, man, we could just line up and just boogie, whatever they want to do. If they want Justin Jefferson on Gilmore, Justin Jefferson on Bland, and they want Justin Jefferson on Diggs, then we'll just do it. Now he opened up, with like size matchups, right? Like if there's one dude that's just way bigger and he's in the slot, then maybe you don't want Daron Bland covering that guy, but maybe that's where Izzy comes in. He gets to go be the big long dude covering, covering dudes in the slot or whatever. So solid answer from Dan Quinn. It was interesting. And I know a lot of people were curious about that because they would ask me, Voch, you think we're going to be traveling corners like that? But Dan Quinn say, hell no, we just going to line up in boogie because we got the dudes. Did you have any thoughts on that, Wilson?
Nah, I think he has a little bit of experience with that in Seattle. I know he didn't have Diggs and Gilmore, but his system allowed these cornerbacks to excel to where they didn't have to travel like that. Now you got just dope ass cornerback. There's just really no need to, unless, like he said, I think he mentioned like if it's a size issue or something like that, like a size matchup, maybe you'll see Diggs on a bigger receiver or something like that. But I mean, what I'm interested to see is if Gilmore does some inside things from time to time, because I think between Gilmore and Bland, you could probably play around with them between slot and boundary. Diggs won't ever really see the slot much unless he's matching up and Mike Evans or somebody going there. But I think you can move Gilmore around a little bit. He did that last year with the Colts.
It just feels good to have 3 cornerbacks that I feel good about. And I don't know if I've ever in my Cowboy fandom have just had 3 cornerbacks that I feel really, really good about. It ain't never happened to me. But anyway, and the last one. And boy, y'all know I'd be talking about how to make Dan's defense Teflon or whatever. But Dan was asked, what were your thoughts about how teams dealt with your defense last year or whatever. And in my mind, I was like, well, they threw the fucking ball at cornerback too. You know what I'm saying? Every time Dan Quinn took something away, they had to go do something else, But Dan had this to say, and I'll give my continued thoughts on it.
Well, that's a good question. I think it's kind of custom by the team. There's some teams that are really true to their system and how they want to run it and execute it. And you certainly see that. And then there's other teams that, okay, this might have been a play that they like. This might have been a play that another team had done. This might have been another team that had done. That happens.
If one team keep whooping your ass at the damn cornerback too, everybody else just going to keep doing it. And I think the Bears were the first team that did it. That's the first time I kept getting pissed off about it.
Our league too, to say, okay, that other team did it where they attacked them and it worked, and we're going to try that play too. So I think by the team, that's where their strengths are. What does their identity look like? Usually it starts there too, to say, this is who we are, this is how we play. So most of the time it's not some drastic change, that takes place, but based on the team's personnel, I think that it's kind of custom by the week.
Yep. When run the ball up the middle was the thing, everybody tried that till Dan fixed it. Running the ball to the edge was a thing, and that's what everybody did until Dan fixed it. And then they just discovered throw the ball versus cornerback too, and
I don't mean to change the subject a little bit, but you talked about running the ball on the edge. As long as it's interior between Hankins, Mozzie, Bo, if Bo sticks around, hold up. I'm hearing amazing things, good things, great things about Damone Clark. So, Can't wait to see him kind of run free.
Did Brian Bros tell you that?
No. Well, actually told people that on Twitter. Yeoman's brought it up as well. Others that have been down there have been kind of praising Damone Clark at practice.
And, you know, if we have any concerns about this defense, it'll be linebackers, right? Like, we all feel great about the D lineman and the secondary or whatever. So, like, hey, as long as Van Der Esch and Clark, nobody neck hurting and they just run around and they good, like, then this defense can be, I'm not gonna hype nobody up, Will Steele. So if we seeing good things from Clark, and if Clark can carry that to the regular season, he really has a breakout year.
I think I said it a few weeks ago or whatever it was. The way we're talking about Sam, I feel like Clark is going to have that type of season for a linebacker.
Sure.
But it's not going to feel as sexy because, sacks and quarterback hits and fumbles and whatnot. But I think Clark was going to have a year 2 jump. I truly do believe that.
Okay. Clark as a year 2 guy, Bland as a year 2 guy, Sam as a year 2 guy. What a class. Tyler Smith as a year 2 guy.
Yes, class. Very. So far, so good. Yeah.
Who else in that draft class? Who else? Who was the third round pick?
Third round pick last year?
After Sam, it was
Jalen Tolbert. So Tolbert, there's another one. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And once you get to the other 5th round and 6th, the 1/5 ain't here. Devin Harper, we got to see what's up with Devin Harper. But look, no one's going to hit on every pick. But boy, if you can get 1 through,
if you hit on 5,
4 out of 5, I mean, good Lord.
That's a motherfucker. That's a class. That's a class for your ass.
KD